Hi. Sorry I'm late again. You were here last year, I was late last year as well. So basically all I can add is the regional point of view. I am a regional journalist. I work at the Sunshine Coast Daily, which is only an hour away from Brisbane, but it's about 1980 on the Sunshine Coast. Many of you have been there lately, so basically, I mean, I wasn't great at uni. I hated uni. I spent more time in the campus club than in lecture theatres. I would often ditch classes because I had to walk through Queen Street Mall, so I'd go shopping. I was hopeless. And then I got to my final year and went, wow, I'm really not going to get a job. So I decided maybe I'd try some work experience, but that all seemed too much effort as well until my final semester. Then I went, okay, right, seriously, if you're going to do this. And all my uni lecturers were having intervention meetings with me, like that's how bad it was. I would rock up on rare occasion and there'd be like 4 of them waiting, just going, where's this? And I'd be like, oh look, you're in my diary, I'm getting to it, if, you know, fine. QT kindly gave me a degree, snaps to QT for that. So I basically went, okay, I have to get a job. I'm not going to get one in Brisbane because I have done nothing and because my GPA was just tragic. I went by like 3's equal degrees, 4's open doors mantra. Like I just was completely hopeless. So I went, okay, where is this very flaky city girl going to go? And I went to Tamworth in the radio station there called 2TM. And the great thing about regional places is that they're always hiring because nobody wants to go there. But it's true. I worked for the Corrales Network, which, if it's still around, and I think they still have some stations, is the most tight-ass media organisation you could ever work for. And I work for APN, so that's actually saying something. Like the air conditioning broke, which we need to, you know, keep all the equipment cool. So they just got massive fans and opened up all the doors. And this is a radio station, which is supposed to be soundproofed. So basically what going out to that proved was that you had to kind of, I don't know, you had to kind of think on your feet, you had to use your gut, you had to use your own initiative. I mean, I was trained in Newsboss. We had those carts. I don't even think they exist anymore, like those tape carts. They're like, you record it. Oh, that's good to know. And eventually we moved on to MP3 discs, which was a very exciting day. We got to record straight onto something digital. But then I'd walk into a little booth with my printed out notes. We didn't even have computers in the recording booths. And it was one of those dot matrix printers that, you know, would like take forever, so the clock would be counting down, you'd have to do a read, and it was going so you'd end up with like your final page, the words would be this big because you just pulled it out of the printer. So you had to walk into this little booth with your papers, turn on the satellite, record for the whole of New England Northwest, hit play on your little mini disc, hope to God that it worked. And you had to cover, I mean, I was based in Tamworth, but I covered that entire area. So that was Armidale, Gunnedah, Weewar, places I had never even heard of before. And believe me, regional people will tell you when you pronounce their names wrong. Like, they will let you know repeatedly and often, and they're quite consistent about it. They'll come to the radio station to meet you and go, you know, you've been saying it's Weewar, it's actually Weewar. And you're like, oh, thanks. Cool. Could have been done in a phone call, but lovely to meet you. So, I mean, that's what regional towns are like. You're known. You walk down the street, people know that you work for the radio station because, I mean, it's a small place, and they'll come and give you tips, and before you know it, like, you've got a whole bunch of different stories that you're in completely in over your head with. You're making, like, war with the local politicians, and you're having the time of your life. I mean, it's fabulous. So I did that for probably a year and a half and went, do I really want to be a journalist? Probably my uni degree, my uni behaviour would have pointed to no for that. So I went, do I want to do it, or is it just what they gave me a degree in? I've got a job in it, maybe I should go and work out what I really want to do. I've also done some television work while I was down there, but I really had issues with doing my hair and makeup every day. It was just way too much. So I came and worked in a cafe by the beach for a while, and I freelanced. I did more radio work for an FM station on the Sunshine Coast. I worked for Channel 7 all up and down, and so that's the other great thing with work experience. If you've got holidays, why don't you ring up 7 Queensland and go, can I go and work in your Mackay office for a week? I mean, because they don't often get the work experience people up there because everybody thinks Brisbane. And you've got a really good chance of, if not voicing something, having time to take an edit suite and put something together. Like, you'll go out and you'll do the story, you can interview everyone, and if they don't think your voice is up to scratch, I mean, they don't always do, then you've got the opportunity just to voice it for yourself for your own show reel. So, I mean, get out there and go to all the regional towns, hang out there for a week, and they'll really think good of you for doing it as well. So I was doing that for a while, and then I thought maybe I'd give print a go, because I didn't really have to brush my hair to go into work, and I could wear flowers and crazy rings and lots of beads and things, because, you know, I was just a voice on the other end of the phone and just a notebook and a paper. And I went and knocked on the Sunshine Coast Daily store, and I kept doing that for a very long time. And I would go, I'd get stories, I'd go off, I'd write them, I'd submit them, and I'd keep doing that while I was working for minimum wage in a cafe. So I just kept doing that, and it's kind of like a first date, like, work experience, because you have to be eager but not over eager. Like, you can't be all like, I love you, I love you, I love you. You have to be you have to play a little bit cool, and by that I mean you've got to have your own ideas, not just follow them around going, I really want to work for you. Show them why you want to work for them. Like, show them why you want to be a journalist. So eventually they gave me a job because I was hanging around, and like everyone else has said, the jobs came up, so they were like, part of least resistance, because journalists are intrinsically lazy, and most of your chief of staffs and editors have, you know, come up the ranks as journalists. So they're just going to go, wow, I could put a job ad out there, or I could just hire that person. And that's pretty much what they end up doing. So I got a job, and the great thing about going regional, because I mean, not everyone is as lucky as these guys, like to have the advantage to do like millions of different rounds. When you're in a regional paper, you do everything. So I kind of do a combination of these people's jobs. I write for our online site, so trusty iPhone comes in handy there. I go at a job, I write up what happens, I take a picture, I email it into the office, it goes live straight away, which is how, I don't know if you guys have seen the police ignored 2 phone calls around the same time as the murder. That's how I broke that story. I was out in the field, somebody rang me, said, you know, this happened. I called the police media, they said, yep, we're having a media thing about it. I've gone, great, and it was online like 2 minutes later, and I was nowhere near my desk. I also do radio crosses. I ring up the local radio station and just go, look, this is happening. So I do a little bit of everything, and so because of that, I mean, I've had a chance to cover some great story. I've covered like bikies, I've covered politics, I've covered murders, I've covered really tragic car crashes, I've, you know, been able to take on the government and had roads changed and rules changed and things like that, which, you know, is pretty okay for somebody who was probably most likely to not succeed at university. So it's just basically go regional. Like, if you can't get a job here, don't give up hope, just get out of your comfort zone. Most of the people who will be in a regional station in exactly the same position as you have no idea what the locals are talking about, can't understand them, because a lot of the time, like especially in North Queensland, that accent is pretty thick. So you band together, you make great contacts, great friends, and it just sets you up for like a really strong career. So work experience, go regional. And just why the Alliance is important, I'm pretty sure you guys get free membership in your 3rd year. Like, join it, because media companies, like I said, are tight asses, and it's used as a business. So if they can try and not pay you, or, you know, get rid of some of your allowances or your rights, they'll try it. Especially APN. If any of you have ever had anything to do with APN, I mean, snap to them for giving me a job at all. But I mean, they really do like trying to cut corners and things like that. So, you know, and the union really is the only people who are going to go into that for you. So yeah, work experience and regional, that's what I would say.